Kaepernick tweeting, Tebow got a job before Kaepernick? Wait till we play Jacksonville. Then added a bunch of Z emojis to signify putting him to sleep. The translating emojis on television now. Wow. Slick Ric Bucher is joining us. My big brother is still here. But fellas, I don't think it's at all fair to compare this Colin Kaepernick situation to the Tim Tebow situation. Tim Tebow is back in the league because he has a relationship with Urban Meyer, who is his, figuratively speaking, ace in the hole. Let me give y'all my example by giving y'all story time. Slick Ric Bucher. I was drafted to the Cleveland Browns, my linebacker coach, a man by the name of Billy Davis. I'm traded to the Philadelphia Eagles, my defensive coordinator, a man by the name of Billy Davis. As long as Billy Davis was in the league, Slick, Emmanuel Acho was going to be in the league. I got a call at the end of the 2015 season, Slick Rick. Sam Acho, you already know the story. I called Billy Davis because I was a free agent. All he does is this when he picks up the phone. Your ace in the hole is out the league. You see, Billy Davis had gone to Ohio State to be a linebacker coach for Urban Meyer. Emmanuel Acho had gone to work in entertainment. I was kept in the league because of Billy Davis to some degree. Obviously, I was much more qualified to play the linebacker position than Tim Tebow has ever been to play the tight end position. But I was kept in the league to an extent because of my relationship with Billy Davis, along with my at least minimum level of qualifications. I'm not going to sleep on myself. I did get some All-American votes. Now, with that being said, completely unfair to compare Colin Kaepernick, in my mind, to Tim Tebow. But Slick Rick, what do you say? Is it fair to compare the Cap situation to Tebow?
Well, first of all, it's unfair to say that Urban Meyer is the only reason that Tim Tebow is getting this shot. But I'll get to that in a minute. Yes, it is fair to compare them to determine whether they're comparable or not. So let's go through the litmus test. Are they both former NFL players in their 30s attempting to get back in the league? Yes, they both were that. Were they both offered workouts to make that happen? Yes, they were. Did both of them take those private workouts? No, they didn't. Colin Kaepernick, at the last second, decided, I don't want the private workout that the NFL is affording me. I am going to go public in order for the media to be there. He threw a wrench in the works. Tim Tebow did not do that. Are they vying for the same position? No, they're not. This is not Tim Tebow getting an opportunity to take a job that Colin Kaepernick ultimately was not afforded. Tim Tebow is attempting to be a tight end. Are they both in the league? Actually, technically, no. Nothing has happened with Tim Tebow to this point where he's actually in the NFL, something that Colin Kaepernick wanted to aspire to. This is where Colin left me, because for a long time, I felt that he was blackballed by the league. But at some point, the question was, does he want to play or does he not want to play? And when he did what he did with the workout, when he had the avenue to work out and potentially get a shot, what did he do? He made it public and he made it a spectacle and he made it about the NFL is scared to sign me. Tim Tebow is doing none of those things, and so he still has an opportunity to get back in the league. So when I add it all up, there are a couple things that look similar, but when you make the comparison, you find out that the two situations really don't compare.
Slick Rick, you are reaching. You said, are they both in their 30s? Did they both used to play in the NFL? I mean, come on, are
those not true? Is that not true?
Rick, if you put up a Venn diagram with all those, everybody, me and Emmanuel in our 30s, we both played in the NFL. Did they both love watching football as little kids? Slick Rick, that's a big old Venn diagram. There's a whole lot of overlap there. Those would not be the best points to make this case. I agree with you that it's not fair to compare the two players, really former quarterbacks. But the reason why is that if you look at Tim Tebow, he's coming back as a tight end. And so Colin Kaepernick, if he would never say, I want to go play receiver or I want to go play any other position. Tim Tebow's saying, just give me a job, number one. Number two, you also said that, well, Tim Tebow's not really there because of his head coach. The only reason
Tim Tebow's even in this conversation is because of Urban Meyer. Yep, there's a big yup. Tim Tebow was out of the NFL for 6, 7 years, hadn't been on a roster for maybe 8 or 9. The only reason that Tim Tebow reached out to Urban Meyer and said, hey, let me get a workout in. Urban Meyer said, yes. Emmanuel's got some great aces in the holes. He had his coach, Billy Davis, hey, man, I'm your ace in the hole. I had some horrible aces in the hole. I had a coach who said, hey, Sam, he's my coach in Chicago, Ed Donatel. He's a defensive backs coach. Hey, Sam, as long as I'm in the NFL, you're always going to have a job. I'm on TV right now, and he's still in the NFL. I need some better aces in the hole. If I would have had a guy like Urban Meyer, as long as I'm in the NFL, whenever I get my opportunity, you're going to have a job, I would have been straight. That's exactly what Tim Tebow has in Urban Meyer. That's the only reason that Tim Tebow is getting another chance, another opportunity, a workout, a tryout, a chance to be signed, is because of Urban Meyer. Point blank, period. There is no other reason. There's no other explanation. There's no other opportunity. That's the only reason. And Slick, if you don't believe that, you need to draw some new Venn diagrams.
Slick, as I look at it, the only way you could make it comparable is this. Tim Tebow signing just makes Kaepernick's blackballing more egregious. It's not like it actually did anything to make it comparable, but we knew Colin Kaepernick's blackballing, if you will, was already egregious when several other quarterbacks were still in the NFL who weren't even as talented or lack thereof as Tim Tebow. So Colin Kaepernick, we've already known his blackballing, if you will, has been egregious. The kicker is Tim Tebow being signed just kind of pours salt in the wound because we know Tim Tebow is not qualified to be on an NFL roster at tight end. And we're still sat here and tried to say that Colin Kaepernick at least is to a degree qualified to be on an NFL roster at quarterback. We saw Nathan Peterman on an NFL roster at quarterback. We've seen what Jared Stidham has done on an NFL roster at quarterback. So based upon looking at those two dudes alone, it's like, if they can be in the league, how come Cap can't be in the league? But then everything kind of died down. But Tim Tebow once again reminds us, wait a second, there are several players in the NFL who should not necessarily be in the NFL, at least shouldn't be in the NFL ahead of guys like Colin Kaepernick. I am with you, though. Like, at this point, I don't know if Colin Kaepernick even has the talent. It's been however long. But I know Tim Tebow ain't got the talent, and I can tell you exactly how long it's been.
But it's not about talent. I agree with a lot of what you said when you compare Colin to other guys that were or are in the league. But we're talking about Tim Tebow, and we're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. As I see it, this is a business deal, and technically, he has not been signed yet. Now, if the Jacksonville Jaguars are smart, they will sign him because branding-wise, the Jacksonville Jaguars are the worst team in the AFC. Yes, even worse than my Cincinnati Bengals. They do not sell merchandise. They do not sell product. What does Tim Tebow sell? What was he #1 in when he was with the Denver Nuggets? The Denver Broncos? That would be jersey sales. If you look at Jacksonville's attendance, it is in the bottom, traditionally in the bottom half of the league. Their capacity is in the bottom half of the league. Where did Tim Tebow star? Oh, that's right, in Florida. Do you not think that they're not going to sell merchandise? It's the same play the New York Mets made. Did they think that Tim Tebow was going to be a bona fide major league player? Hell no.
Slick, let me ask you this then.
But they sold the hell out of merchandise, and they sold the Tim Tebow product.
Slick, where do you draw the line?
This is a business
Where do you draw the line? Because are you going to keep Tim Tebow on the active roster? You just drafted Trevor Lawrence, who is the most bona fide stud quarterback to come out of college since John Elway and Andrew Luck. You just hired Urban Meyer, who is the sexiest college football coach since Pete Carroll. If between Urban and Trevor Lawrence, you still got a ticket sale and jersey sale problem, then that's on you. Because you can't just continue to use Tim Tebow as a facade to cover up for a lack of jersey sales, to cover up for a lack of season tickets. You just got Trevor Lawrence for that. You got Urban Meyer for that. You don't need Tim Tebow for that.
I'm not going to, who's to say how long I'm going to use Tim Tebow? He may not even get out of training camp. He may not ultimately even get signed. The fact of the matter is, I've told the entire state, I've told my entire fan base, you know what? Remember that guy down in Florida that you guys all loved? We're going to give him a shot. You don't think that's a feel-good story among the fans down there? We can make this an either-or when it comes to Colin or